Welcome back. Yes, you should lose weight the right way. Don't try to take a shortcut or do something for a little time. A lot of people get stuck when they do this. See if you can relate to this. What I saw online, someone said, I've been eating about 1,000 calories a day for the past week. I know it's not the healthiest or sustainable, but it has worked in the past to lose weight quickly. I'm not planning on doing it any longer than this week. I've also been lifting 6 times a week, but I'm not losing weight. Should I just give up and eat at my basal metabolic rate and do this the right way? Click like if that's something you can relate to. It's something to look out for. I'm going to tell you about it. My name is Reggie. I'm the founder of Fit for Freelance, where I build adaptive business leaders through compassionate health coaching. And this is a guilt free game plan, the most compassionate way to build self control so you lose weight without all or nothing diets. Three big parts: vision, focus, and practice. Those are the key elements of the guilt free process. Now, what happens when you don't have the vision, focus, and practice, and you are trying something kind of urgently, last minute, a crash diet, something that you know is not sustainable, then you can get into a lot of trouble with your health and not get the results that you want and feel bad about yourself and wondering what's wrong with you. And there's nothing wrong with you. You just need a better process for your health journey. So, most people get stuck trying these extreme diets for just a little while, just until this week, just until the next event. I made a video about that. And what we want to do is shift to lifestyle changes so that you can keep up with what you're doing. And then the question I have for you is, what kind of results are you getting from that when you are, doing these extreme diets for just a little while a week? Like this person described, they're not getting the results they want, and then they're probably going to go back to unsustainable habits more than once because they said it's worked before and then they gained weight and now they're going to try it again. Right? This is a cycle that can be dangerous. This is rewarding. You get feedback from people, feels good. You lose a few pounds. People are like, oh, wow, you look so good. You feel proud, feel like it worked. And then you look more fit for a little while if you start to get the results that you're looking for. But also you're hungry and it sucks because you're only eating like half the calories you need or some number. And then so you don't keep it. What happens? You trick yourself into thinking that extreme diets like this work, but it doesn't really, because when you're hungry, your meal plan, nutrition sucks. Then you're like, oh no, I got to eat. And then you start doing things and then you fall off completely. Then you get into trouble. So this is what happens. And it doesn't really work. It only works for a little bit, like temporarily. It doesn't work. It's just short term effective. And then you go right back to how you were before. Then you start eating a normal amount of food or you revert to the old habits and routine, and then you regain the weight. That's what's not fun. And then often when you do that, you gain more than before. It's kind of like a check mark effect where you drop the weight and then after you stop making all those changes, you gain the weight back and it's more than where you started. And then you're like, oh no, now I'm even bigger and I have more of the same problems because you haven't addressed the fundamental issues of your eating and exercise habits and lifestyle. And I don't want that for you. Then you feel even worse. So just don't do that. Stop doing it. Just do things the right way, especially if you're calling it the right way in the first place. It's like you already know that what you're doing isn't healthy or sustainable. So just avoid it altogether. All right. Because what happens when you do that, you might believe that the only way to get back is to do the extreme diet again, right? Because it worked before. So you're going to try it again. This is similar to a cycle of addiction when it comes to, all the other addictions. Oh, just a little bit more or just a little while longer. And this kind of cyclical eating can lead to eating disorders, similar to binge eating disorder. Now, I'm not going to diagnose anyone with this. It's just something to be mindful of when you're intentionally doing unsustainable, unhealthy things to lose weight specifically. So, big caution flag is out for this. This is why you want to make your changes sustainable. All right. So, a good question to ask to think about it differently, because a lot of times people do these things. They think this is normal or this is how they have to make changes. And then they have other issues that come up. What's your average change since your first attempt? And I made a little chart for you to talk about it. Steady weight loss versus yo-yo diets. Now, granted, weight loss isn't always straightforward. You're not going to get a linear result, but this blue line is your steady weight loss line where you're losing about a pound a week. So the scale is 2 weeks at the bottom, pound a week for the next 12 weeks, and you'll lose 12 pounds. And what happens with this person who says they're doing something a little more extreme for, just a week, they go down, they might lose 4 pounds in 2 weeks, and it's like a more dramatic change. But then things can happen. This is just an example, but where you stop once you hit a certain goal, you get down to 192 or something, then you go back up. And then it's hard to make the adjustments to go in the direction that you want. It's not sustainable, and you might regain all the way back up to where you started and then go on a week long, eating change crash diet, and then regain. So you'll have this waving effect going up and down and not being consistent when you try things for a little bit that are too extreme to be sustainable for you, and they're probably not healthy. So this is why it's valuable to focus on steady weight loss, consistent habits over a longer span of time that are part of the healthy, fulfilling life of your dreams. Click like if that makes sense to you. So overall, when you're doing these kinds of things, it's like putting a band-aid on something that needs stitches. If you are, you know, needing support, or like a more permanent fix, and you just slap a temporary solution on it, that's not solving the underlying problem. So think about your nutrition differently so you can make sustainable healthy choices and do things the right way. So overall, yes, you should do it the right way. The best practices work for a reason. You're not an exceptional superhero. You have the laws of physics that we all share on earth most of the time, I guess. And so it's kind of like a fallacy to think like, oh, that works for everyone else, but I get to do something different. And then that's when you run into trouble with doing something so exceptional that it is technically disordered or unhealthy or unsustainable. So the best practices are there for a reason. They work for most people, and I encourage you to follow them when it comes to, make sure you get enough fiber, fruits and vegetables in your daily diet, make sure you're drinking water, you have a sustainable, realistic amount of calories for your activity levels. And what you're intending to do to lead a healthy, fulfilling life of your dreams. A couple things to think about when it comes to best practices. Changes take longer than a week. Don't do something for just a week and think it's going to revolutionize your life. You're going to have a short term change, a short term effect. All right. You want to know the effects of your choices. So think about the bigger context of your health and what you're doing with your eating and exercise. One thing to point out, usually scale weight is not the best way to measure your progress, especially if it's only over the course of a week, because that's a pound is about 3,500 calories difference in either gaining or losing. And it takes quite a bit of time to get that much. So if you're just tracking your scale weight, it might be something with water weight or water retention, how much sodium you're eating. And so that scale weight isn't usually a great indicator of your health changes, right? Especially in the short term. You want to know what's truly important to your health journey and reasonable expectations for how long it will take. So focusing on the scale is not always the best thing. You want to know, like, I want more energy, or I want to feel more fit, or I want my clothes to fit differently. Those are the things to track. And knowing how long it's going to take, longer than a week, usually you can expect like 12 weeks, 8 weeks, something that takes longer so you get long-term sustainable results instead of a crash approach to eating. Let me know if that makes sense in the comments. The other thing to look out for is you want to know what healthy eating and exercise are instead of guessing. So if you were just guessing like, oh yeah, I'll eat 1,000 calories just to lose weight, but that you don't know how that's affecting how your body's functioning, or if you have enough nutrients to carry on doing the things that your body needs, maintaining your immune system, growth, cell reparation, cell reparation, just making up words. But you want to know what healthy eating and exercise are instead of trying to guess it on your own, or get the results that are probably not going to last long and it's not healthy for you in the first place. The key question I always ask: what does a healthy, fulfilling life of your dreams look like? Is it being on a crash diet for a week, then cycling off, then feeling bad about yourself, then doing something that you shouldn't do again, and doing that over and over again indefinitely? Or do you want to have control over your eating habits so you have the health and body that you want over a longer period of time? And then the follow-up question is, how does how you eat and move support that? How does your health support your life and what you want to achieve? When you eat, you want to think of that as fuel for what you need to do and accomplish, and then even enjoyment how you want to feel when you're eating too. So if you are under eating and feeling bad and hungry about it, that's not going to be effective for the changes you want to make or the life that you want to live when it comes to the healthy, fulfilling life of your dreams. You want to have food when you want it in a reasonable way that supports your health goals. And you can have the body you want too if you do things correctly. If you want help, book a call that's linked below. I'd love to help you so we can talk about, what you want, what you've tried, and how I can help. And if not, you just subscribe to the channel. In any case, let me know what you think of this video. And then next you can watch Wondering If You Need a Health Coach, What Does a Health Coach Do? I'll put that over here. So that's today's message. Yes, you should lose weight the right way. Stop trying to do things the fast way or the wrong way. And as always, keep practicing. Peace.